Happy New Year! Welcome to 2025. It's been long overdue, but I didn't want to come in here if I didn't have anything important to say. As always, my name is Susanna. I'm currently working as a CC in Canada. I was an international student for 2 years, and now I am in Saskatchewan, Canada. If you subscribe and like this video for more. If you are just gotten an admission to study CCA in Saskatchewan or in Canada, and you're wondering how that would be like, what life would be like for you when you leave school, would you get a job? What are the things you need to do to work towards your permanent residency? This video is definitely for you. I'm going to talk about my experience and all the thoughts I've had so far when it comes to planning to become a permanent resident in Canada with the new rules and with the new laws from IRCC, and how it affects you who is also planning to come to study, or you're already studying to become a CCA, which is known as continuing care assistant or personal support worker, whatever you want to call it. So yes, this video is definitely for you. First thing I want you to know is that for every route you're going to be using to apply for your permanent residency, express entry, which is the most popular right now, one of the ones that we'll be using, if you studied here, of course, and you're working in the line of what you studied, you're probably going to be using CEC to apply for your permanent residency. CEC is Canadian Experience Class, and it is designed for people who have work experience in Canada and also people who studied in Canada. Of course, your previous work experiences can also be used in your application. You get points, like you get added points if you've studied in Canada and if you have work experience in Canada. You also get points if you have a family member who is a permanent resident or a citizen. So for me, I don't have a family member who is a PR or a citizen in Canada, so I don't get points for that. The only point I'm going to be getting if I'm going to be applying for CEC now is work experience and my education in Canada. My education in Canada is covered. I get points for that because I studied here. But for my work experience, the only ones that would be covered are the ones that the work that I worked. Let me rephrase that. The only ones that will be covered are the full-time work experience. And right now, as a CCA, as someone who is in the job market in Canada, we all know how difficult it is to find permanent job positions. It is not as easy as it used to be. Everything is changing, and moving here, I have been hit with the realization that getting a job is not as easy as it comes. It's not as easy as it seems, and it's definitely not as easy as anybody has ever told you. Now the thing is, permanent for you to, before you get, let's say you're applying for a job in Canada, most provinces, especially ones I've lived in, they want you to apply for jobs, yes, but as a CCA, I don't want to generalize it because I can't speak for everybody, but as a CCA, when you are done with school or before you are done with school and you're already applying for jobs, you will notice how slow you get responses back from these employers. It is not immediately you get a job interview. Sometimes it takes weeks sometimes, and then there's this thing where once you get the interview, you get the job in, let's say you got a CCA position, you start with a casual position. What do I mean by casual? Casual is not a full-time position. You do not get guarantee hours. You do not get that letter that everybody who wants to apply for permanent residency is in need of, which is called job approval letter. Job approval letter is that letter when you're living in Saskatchewan that you need to get from an employer after you've worked with them for 6 months or more as a full-time worker. Now, that letter is very important for me and for anybody who is watching this, who is interested in coming to Saskatchewan to work, and you need to apply for provincial nominee program. Provincial nominee program gives you 600 points more to your express entry. You can add that 600 points to your express entry application. It gives you, no matter the the route you want to pick, CEC or whatever, if you get 600 points more to add to your current CRS score, you are eligible for most of all those other permanent residency routes. It's like it gives you a boost, because add 600 to whatever points you already have when you've added every other thing to your CRS score. It gives you a boost. There's no how you want to do it. But before you get that 600 score, you must have gotten that letter of approval from an employer, and you must also have applied for permanent provincial nominee program. That means your province, Saskatchewan, must have nominated you. So you can apply for permanent residency by getting that and adding it to your current CRS score. So for people that want to apply for CEC, once you put that 600 with your current score, it gives you a boost. But the thing is, it is not that easy to get. It is not very easy to get permanent position. Like I was saying, which brings me back to what I was saying. You need to know that you do not immediately out of school get a permanent position. It is rare, extremely rare, for you to finish graduate school and get a permanent position. Most of the time, when you're applying to be a CCA and you're working and you want to work under SHA, I must add, Saskatchewan Health Authority, you have to start as a casual. Unless you're applying to private care homes or private care facilities, you can get permanent positions. The only thing is that not all organizations, not all companies are eligible to give you that job approval letter. So now let me break it down for you to understand. This is you want to apply for permanent residency. You have studied in Canada for a year or two or more, but because we are focusing on CCA is just a 1 year course, 1 year program. So you've studied CCA for a year and you are ready to work. You've applied for your postgraduate work permit and you're ready to start working. Once you start to apply, you either go for job positions under SHA, Saskatchewan Health Authority, or you apply to private care homes or private care facilities, or you can do both. Now, most of the time, once you apply, it takes a while before you get a response back, before you start earning money, which is why I will personally advise you to start applying before you are even done with school. So even if you get a position, you can work 20 hours as a student. Now, let's say you didn't do that, like I didn't as well, and then you apply after school. Under the SHA, you apply as a casual. It's just the way it is. You can apply for a permanent role, but you won't get it. Why? SHA deals with seniority when it comes to job application. What do I mean by that? Once you apply to jobs, let's say 5 people apply to a job posting, whatever it is, HR will pick whoever has a high seniority among those 5 candidates to be the one to get that position. And what do you mean by high seniority? Seniority is calculated by how old you've been working in the health authority. So out of those 5 people, let's say the first person has been working there for 2 years, the second person for 5 years, the third person for 6 months, the fourth person for 1 year, and the 5th person just applied right fresh from the streets, like you've not worked there before, this is your first time applying. Guess what they're going to pick? They're going to pick the first person who has been working there for 5 years. That is how seniority works. So now, that is why people usually just apply to casual positions. Casual means that you are not given guarantee hours, which means they will just call you when there are shifts available. Now, as a casual, there are bits of pros and cons to it, but we're going to get to that later in the video. But as explaining what seniority means, that is how it works. So which is why you won't get permanent positions right from right from the start, right from the jump, unless by, I don't know how, divine intervention, I don't know, but if 5 people apply and the person with the seniority, with somebody has a high seniority, the job goes to the person. Or if somebody applies, if you apply and you are the only one who applies for the job, let's say, then you get the position. That is how it works. Which is why you cannot use a casual job you can't use a casual job to apply for your PNP. You need to get a permanent position. So that means you need to keep applying and applying and applying to get a permanent role. So once you get a permanent role and you work for 6 months, close to a year, permanent role means full-time, a full-time permanent position. It is the rule and the law that you have to get a permanent position, which is a full-time position, working full-time hours, to be able to apply for your PNP. It is the rule. There's nothing we can do about it. I wish it's not like that. I wish they need to consider that permanent full-time positions are not that easy to come by. Then there are not a lot of jobs flying around looking for there are not a lot of jobs flying around and willing to just employ people for a permanent role. Some want you to start as a casual. There are some jobs that don't even employ permanent positions. They only want casuals, especially in this care industry, or care and support industry. You need to understand that this is, I know it might seem like a top secret, but I need you to understand that, because you are giving up a lot of things to come and study here, to come and work here, and to apply for your permanent residency. You need to have all the information you can get before you make that decision. It is very important for you to know that, yes, they keep saying it is high demand. It's one of those jobs on the list of jobs that the IRCC has said that they want people to apply for. But there are a lot of restrictions as well that are restricting people like me, people who have graduated from school with this certificate that they claim to need, but you still won't get that job immediately. It takes months, years, unless you are willing to go into rural areas where there are not a lot of people, not a lot of competitions, and work there. This is a lot of information to push, but I need you to understand that it's just the truth of the matter. I've got people in my class who, when we graduated, they had to move from where we are living now, where we studied, the town where we studied, to move to another town, to move to another city, village, to work, because those were the places that were willing to give you a full-time position. Now, if you're okay with that, why not apply to these places and get a job? I am also applying. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Anywhere I get a full-time position, I am going, because it is very important that I take care of my future in Canada. That they've said that this is the rule. I don't make the rules. I also do not want to move, but it is what it is. They're saying that they need us to get a full-time permanent position, because before they can even consider giving us this job approval letter. And without the job approval letter, you can't apply for PNP. And without that 600 points, if you don't have all those things I mentioned earlier in the video, like having family members that are permanent residents or citizens, and having Canadian education, and having 2 language tests, having work experience relating to that field that you're working in already, there's a lot of things that will bring your score down without even adding that, before you even add 600 points to it. So, and the last time I checked, CEC's last draw was 549 or so. 549 is quite high. Now, so imagine if you've gotten that 600 point added to your already low score. No matter what CEC score is, you're still going to get eligible to apply. You will get that invitation to apply, because you would get way more than the cutoff score. So That is why people prefer to get PNP. PNP is not that easy to get in Saskatchewan. I have other provinces I am not quite sure of. There are claims that there are new streams that IRCC are announcing that they are going to put out, like home care, which I have talked about in this channel. I have a video about it, but we've not heard any news as to how to apply for it. And there are other things that they're also talking about, but there has not been news about it. There's no link on how to do it yet, which means they are not being opened. They're just being announced, but there are no links to. There's no call to action on how people can do it, right? So which means it might take a while before they can finally announce them. So saying all this is just to give you a bit of a backstory, give you a bit of information, so you don't come here blindly and you're getting here and then you're very surprised as to how these rules apply to you. Just a recap of this video. If you're coming to study as a CCA to get your certificate, you need to have studied CCA, right? And you need to get a full-time position to be able to apply for your provincial nominee program, which is also called SINP. But before you do that, you need to get a full-time position, a full-time permanent position, and working 40 hours at most a week, because that's what IRCC will count once you have to apply for a permanent residency. But as a fresh graduate, you're mostly going to get a casual position under SHA, or you can go and get a position in private facilities, but there are not a lot of them and the competition is very high. You can, when you eventually get it though, then fantastic, you can use that for your permanent residency, only if that facility is eligible or registered to be able to give you that job approval letter. Not all companies, not all organizations are eligible to do that. They can only be eligible if they are registered to employ foreign workers, to be able to give them that job approval letter. If they cannot do it for you, please, during the interview or when you get that job, let them write a written agreement. Get a written agreement, not verbal one, that they can get you that job approval letter. Without it, you've just worked for 6 months or for a year with them, you're not gonna get it because they are not registered. Again, this is if you're interested to apply for PNP. Let's say you're not interested, maybe you've got all the points that I mentioned, maybe you've got a family member who is in Canada, you have all those points, your CRS score is high already, you don't need to add extra 600 points to it. Then if you get a permanent job and you've studied here, you've got the work experience to boost, you've got every other thing, and your score is really high, your CRS score is high, then you probably don't need that job approval letter. But if you do not have those scores and you need 600 points more to add to your CRS score, you need a job approval letter from your employer to be able to apply for permanent provincial nominee program. If you have any questions about this, let me know. I can explain further for you. Please make sure you drop your question in the comment section. Not only because it will be visible, it will also be visible to everybody who is going to check comments as well. It will also help me so I don't have to repeat the questions over and over again. So it's going to be in one place and you can always check it anytime you come to this video. And that's it. I apologize I've been gone for so long, but I've been going through life. Life is going through me right now, and it is what it is. Be aware that not all organizations, not all companies would give you that letter. Some of them don't even know what it means, because most of them in Canada, especially in this region, they don't really employ foreign workers like us, international students. International students is a new thing to some provinces in Canada. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Not every province is like Ontario. Saskatchewan is just getting used to the idea of having international students in some of their towns and cities. Unless you're living in Saskatoon or Regina, that the other places in Saskatchewan, the other towns in Saskatchewan are little towns and little villages, are not quite used to this whole system. So most of them don't even know what it means. So unless they're aware and they're willing to help you apply for, help you register their company to be able to get that SINP job approval letter to you, they won't help you. They don't know what it means. It's just not something that they're used to. So please be very proactive towards your job application. Understand that this is your life. Yes, you're applying to jobs, and when you get to that interview, when you even perform well, and then you ask them that is this something that they're willing to do for you, they will say no, because they are not that, they just won't help you. They don't get it. They don't understand how it is to be an immigrant in this country, that you cannot just walk. Some of them feel like once you're done with school, you can just walk. Most of them don't understand immigration processes. You have to explain it to them, and you can be very lucky that you work with employers that will be willing to help you. And you can be unlucky and you just realize that you've wasted months working for this company, and they're not going to give you that letter that you need to be able to continue working in that company. It is that serious. But for SHA is government owned. They understand. They have a lot of international foreign workers. They've got foreign workers working with them. They've got people from other countries working in SHA. It's a huge organization. They've got a lot of hospitals, a lot of health centers, clinics, care facilities, and they've got employers in the thousands. So they've done this, they understand it. But you need to get a permanent full-time position before they can give you that job approval letter. Yeah, I think that's it. So this is the PSA to you. It might also be very useful to anybody coming to study any other course, any other program in Canada. This is the way it is here. Please be very aware before you pick a course, and also do not forget to pick a course that is under that eligible list of fields in Canada that need demands of workers. I have a video about it. I'm going to link it somewhere here or in the description box. Please be aware, be proactive about your application. Do not waste any time. The rules are changing day by day. You don't know what's going to happen next week, so be proactive about it so that you can get a permanent resident and be able to have this sigh of relief that you are finally a permanent resident, and then you can now do whatever you want. You can further your studies. Like, I would definitely further my studies and then start planning towards settling down in Canada, because without that permanent residency, you are a temporary worker and anything can happen at any day. So yeah, thanks for watching again. If this is a video you truly enjoyed, and you not just enjoyed but you learned something from this, and you really want more of this, click that like button. It will help this channel grow faster and get us into a broader community and help you guys as well, and help me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. My name is Susanna. Thanks again. Bye.